We live in a world that constantly pushes us to be in control. From a young age, we are taught that success is about planning, executing, and ensuring everything goes exactly as we intend. The idea of letting go can feel foreign, even irresponsible. Society celebrates those who take charge, who fix problems, who refuse to back down. And while responsibility and action are important, the danger lies in believing that we are solely in control of everything. Think about the last time you faced a difficult situation, perhaps a financial struggle, a career setback, or a personal challenge that seemed impossible to resolve. What was your first instinct? Likely it was to analyze the situation, break it down, and start looking for solutions immediately. You may have stayed up late trying to think of every possible outcome, running scenarios in your mind, preparing for worst-case situations. The anxiety built up, and the weight of the problem only grew heavier. But despite all your effort, the situation did not magically resolve itself. The reason for this is simple. We are not in control of everything. No matter how much we plan, calculate, or strategize, there are forces in this world greater than our individual effort. There are moments when no amount of planning will guarantee the outcome we desire. And yet we struggle with this reality. We resist the idea of surrendering control because we equate it with giving up. But letting go does not mean abandoning responsibility. It does not mean we stop working hard or making wise decisions. Instead, it means recognizing that our role is not to control everything, but to do what we can and trust in something greater to handle the rest. Think about the times in life when things worked out in ways you never expected. Maybe you were trying so hard to make a relationship work, but only when you let go did the right person come into your life. Maybe you were chasing an opportunity that kept slipping away, only to later find something even better. These moments remind us that the best outcomes often come when we release the need to dictate every detail of our journey. When we try to force things to happen, we operate from a place of fear. We fear failure, uncertainty, and the unknown. But fear-based decisions rarely lead to the best results. When we act out of fear, we are more likely to make rushed choices, ignore better opportunities, and exhaust ourselves in the process. But when we shift our mindset and trust that things will unfold as they should, we move from fear to faith. We start making decisions from a place of wisdom rather than panic. We find peace in knowing that our job is to show up, put in the effort, and then allow the rest to unfold as it is meant to. It takes courage to release control. It requires faith to say, I don't have to figure everything out right now. But the truth is, when we stop trying to micromanage every aspect of our lives, we experience freedom. The burden of having to be the solution to every problem lifts, and we begin to see new possibilities. Life is not meant to be lived in a constant state of stress and worry. It is meant to be experienced with trust, patience, and an understanding that not everything is within our power, and that's okay. The next time you find yourself overwhelmed, remind yourself that your role is not to control everything. Do your best, but recognize that there is a greater plan at work. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply let go and allow life to unfold in ways you never expected. When faced with challenges, the first instinct for most people is to worry. It's almost automatic. The moment something goes wrong, the mind jumps into overdrive, analyzing every detail, replaying past mistakes, and imagining worst-case scenarios. The problem is none of this actually helps. Worrying doesn't change the situation, and overthinking doesn't create solutions. If anything, it drains energy, creates stress, and makes it even harder to think clearly. Imagine someone drowning in quicksand. The natural reaction would be to struggle, to fight, to resist sinking. But in reality, the more they struggle, the deeper they sink. The only way out is to stop panicking and trust that staying still will allow them to float. Life works in a similar way. When problems arise, reacting with fear, stress, and overanalysis often makes the situation worse. Overthinking can cloud judgment, leading to impulsive decisions, or even worse, complete inaction. Instead of moving forward, people get stuck in an endless loop of worry. There is a belief that if a problem is big enough, it deserves constant attention. That somehow by thinking about it all day and night, the answer will magically appear. But more often than not, clarity comes when the mind is at ease. Some of the best ideas and solutions come not during moments of stress, but in moments of calm, while taking a walk, in the shower, or just before falling asleep. This is because the brain needs space to process information effectively. When it is overloaded with fear and anxiety, it struggles to function optimally. Think about a time when you were desperately trying to solve a problem but got nowhere. Then, after stepping away and taking a break, the answers suddenly became clear. This isn't coincidence, it's how the mind works. Clarity and wisdom don't come from worrying, they come from allowing space for insight to emerge. This is why worrying is not just unproductive, but also harmful. It takes up mental and emotional energy that could be used for creative thinking, problem solving, and growth. Many people believe that worrying shows they care, that if they stop stressing, they are being irresponsible. But caring about something doesn't mean obsessing over it. In fact, letting go of excessive worry allows for better decision making. It creates room for logical thinking instead of emotional reactions. Worry tricks the mind into believing that it's doing something useful, when in reality, it's just running in circles. One of the biggest lies people tell themselves is, if I don't worry, things will fall apart. But has worrying ever actually fixed anything? Has losing sleep over a problem ever solved it? The truth is, the outcome of any situation is rarely improved by worry. Instead of getting lost in fear, energy is better spent on what can actually be controlled. Taking small practical steps is always more effective than sitting in a cycle of anxiety. Letting go of worry doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means approaching them with a mindset that allows for real solutions. It means acknowledging difficulties without letting them take over. It means choosing to focus on what can be done instead of drowning in what ifs. When the mind is no longer filled with unnecessary stress, solutions become clearer, opportunities become more visible, and life becomes less overwhelming. No problem has ever been solved by excessive worry. Real progress comes from action, trust, and a willingness to release what cannot be controlled. The sooner worry is set aside, the sooner real answers appear. There are moments in life when no matter how much effort is put into solving a problem, things just don't seem to work out. Plans fall apart, opportunities slip away, and despite trying everything, the right solution remains out of reach. It's in these moments that frustration builds, leading to more stress, more worry, and an even greater sense of helplessness. But what if the answer isn't found in trying harder? What if the best thing to do is to step back and allow something greater to take over? Letting go and trusting in divine intervention is not about giving up. It's about recognizing that some things are beyond human control. There are forces at work that go far beyond what can be seen or understood in the moment. Often, the reason solutions don't come immediately is that something better is being prepared. What seems like rejection may actually be redirection. What feels like a closed door may be protection from a path that wasn't meant to be taken. Think about the times in life when things didn't go as planned. Maybe a job opportunity was lost, a relationship ended, or a goal that seemed within reach suddenly became impossible. At the time, it may have felt like a setback, but looking back, it's often clear that those moments led to something greater. The opportunity that was lost made way for a better one. The relationship that ended made space for a healthier connection. The closed door led to an entirely new path that wouldn't have been considered otherwise. Trusting in divine intervention means believing that even when things don't make sense, there is a reason behind it. It means releasing the need to control every outcome and instead having faith that what is meant to happen will happen. This doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. It means taking action while also allowing space for things to unfold naturally. It's the balance between effort and surrender. One of the biggest challenges in letting go is the fear of the unknown. There is a deep desire to know how things will turn out, to have guarantees before making a decision. But life doesn't work that way. Sometimes the answers only come after taking a leap of faith. The right opportunities often appear not when they are forced, but when they are trusted to come at the right time. There's a story about a person who was desperately searching for a way to solve a financial crisis. They tried everything, working extra hours, seeking loans, cutting expenses, but nothing seemed to be enough. The more they stressed, the more exhausted they became. Then, after finally letting go of the fear and trusting that things would work out, an unexpected opportunity arose. It wasn't something they could have planned for. It came at the right time when they were open to receiving it. This is how divine timing works. The answers don't always come in the way they are expected. Sometimes they appear through unexpected people, surprising opportunities, or even through moments of stillness when the mind is finally at peace. When worry and control are released, space is created for something greater to take place. Instead of operating from fear, there is an ability to move forward with confidence, knowing that things are working out in ways that may not yet be visible. Trusting in divine intervention doesn't mean life will always be easy, but it does mean that there is a plan, even in the chaos. Every challenge, every delay, every disappointment is shaping the path towards something greater. The key is to have faith, take steps forward, and then allow things to unfold as they are meant to. When the need to control everything is released, the burden becomes lighter and life begins to flow with greater ease. Fear is a powerful force. It has the ability to paralyze, to create doubt, and to make even the simplest decisions feel overwhelming. Fear thrives on uncertainty, feeding on the unknown, and convincing the mind that things will go wrong. It whispers worst-case scenarios, making problems seem bigger than they are and opportunities seem more dangerous than they actually might be. But when fear is allowed to take control, it doesn't just affect emotions, it shapes actions, decisions, and ultimately the direction of life itself. Fear-based decision-making is often disguised as logic. It presents itself as caution, convincing people that avoiding risk is the safest option. But in reality, many times, what seems like a logical excuse is just fear in disguise. It's the hesitation to take a leap towards something better, the resistance to change, or the unwillingness to step into something unfamiliar. While being cautious is necessary at times, there is a difference between wisdom and fear. Wisdom allows for careful decision-making without being controlled by anxiety. Fear, on the other hand, creates excuses to stay in the comfort zone, even when growth is needed. Faith is the opposite of fear. It doesn't ignore challenges or pretend that difficulties don't exist, but it approaches them with confidence instead of panic. Faith says, I don't have all the answers, but I believe that things will work out. It allows for movement even when the path isn't completely clear. It creates the ability to step forward despite uncertainty, knowing that solutions will reveal themselves along the way. Every major breakthrough in life requires faith, whether it's starting a new career, making a difficult decision, or facing a personal challenge. Faith is what allows progress to happen. Without it, fear keeps things stagnant. It convinces people to stay in jobs they dislike, remain in relationships that no longer serve them, and avoid taking the necessary steps towards something better. Fear will always try to hold people back, but faith provides the courage to move forward. There are countless stories of people who let fear dictate their choices, only to realize later that they missed out on incredible opportunities. On the other hand, there are those who took steps in faith even when they were afraid and found success, fulfillment, and peace. The difference isn't that some people never experience fear, it's that they refuse to let it control them. They acknowledge it, but they choose faith instead. Fear often creates an illusion of control. It makes people believe that by worrying, overanalyzing, or avoiding risks, they are protecting themselves from failure. But in reality, fear doesn't prevent failure, it prevents success. The real danger isn't in taking a leap of faith, it's in never taking one at all. Life is full of unknowns, but the best things often come from stepping into them with trust instead of hesitation. Letting go of fear and embracing faith requires practice. It means training the mind to focus on possibilities rather than limitations. It means recognizing that discomfort is part of growth and that challenges are not meant to stop progress, but to strengthen it. The more faith is exercised, the stronger it becomes, and the weaker fear's influence will be. At the end of the day, the question isn't whether fear exists, it always will. The question is, will fear be the guiding force, or will faith take the lead? Choosing faith over fear doesn't mean that the road ahead will always be easy, but it does mean walking forward with confidence, knowing that the best things in life come not from avoiding challenges, but from embracing them with trust and courage. Timing plays a crucial role in every aspect of life, whether it's personal growth, career advancements, relationships, or opportunities. Everything happens at the right time, even if it doesn't always feel that way. People often want things to happen immediately, believing that success, solutions, or breakthroughs should come on their schedule. But life doesn't work that way. Sometimes doors remain closed not because they will never open, but because the right time hasn't arrived yet. There's a tendency to measure progress by how quickly things happen. If something takes longer than expected, frustration sets in. The waiting period feels like a waste of time, and the temptation to force an outcome grows stronger. But just because something isn't happening right now doesn't mean it won't happen at all. Delays are not denials. In many cases, they are simply part of a greater plan that is unfolding in ways that can't yet be seen. Think about a situation where something seemed out of reach, but when the right time came, everything fell into place effortlessly. Perhaps a job opportunity appeared after months of rejection, or a relationship developed when it was least expected. In hindsight, it often becomes clear that things worked out exactly as they should have, even if it wasn't according to personal timing. When something isn't happening as planned, it's easy to assume that it never will. But just because the path isn't visible doesn't mean progress isn't being made. There's a reason why things don't always come immediately. Sometimes people aren't ready for what they are asking for. Growth needs to take place first. A person may desire success in a career, but need to develop certain skills before handling the responsibility that comes with it. Someone may want a meaningful relationship, but first they need to heal from past experiences. Timing isn't just about when something happens, it's also about making sure it happens when a person is fully prepared to receive it. Unexpected solutions often appear when they are needed most, not when they are wanted most. Many times, opportunities come in ways that couldn't have been predicted. What seemed like a setback may have been the thing that set the stage for something even better. The challenge is trusting the process even when it's unclear. Forcing something to happen before its time often leads to unnecessary stress and disappointment. It's like pulling fruit from a tree before it's ripe. What could have been sweet and fulfilling turns out bitter and unsatisfying. When something is meant to happen, it will happen at the right time, in the right way, and with the right circumstances. Instead of trying to rush the process, it's better to prepare for what's coming. Growth, learning, and patience are all part of the journey. Embracing timing means trusting that delays have a purpose. It means shifting the focus from frustration to preparation. Instead of asking, why isn't this happening yet? A better question is, what can I do to be ready when it does? Every moment of waiting is an opportunity for growth, learning, and strengthening faith. Life has a way of working things out in ways that often don't make sense in the moment. Looking back, the dots always connect. The challenges that seemed unfair, the delays that felt endless, and the changes that were resisted all played a role in leading to the right place at the right time. The key is to trust that things are happening as they should, even if the full picture isn't visible yet. When the right time comes, everything will fall into place in a way that is far greater than anything that could have been forced or rushed. But there's a certain peace that comes with surrendering the need to have all the answers. In life, there will always be things that are beyond understanding, circumstances that don't make sense, challenges that seem unfair, and outcomes that don't align with personal expectations. The instinctive response to uncertainty is often frustration, resistance, or even fear. But fighting against what cannot be controlled only leads to exhaustion. True peace comes from letting go and trusting that everything is unfolding as it should. Holding on too tightly to expectations creates unnecessary stress. People set rigid timelines for their lives, assuming that success, relationships, or personal milestones should happen on a particular schedule. When things don't go according to plan, anxiety takes over, leading to self-doubt and discouragement. But the reality is, life doesn't follow a strict script. Often the most incredible experiences and opportunities arise in the most unexpected ways. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing the pressure to control every detail and allowing things to happen naturally. It means understanding that some answers will come in time and some may never come at all, and that's okay. The mind constantly seeks certainty, but life is full of unknowns. Instead of resisting uncertainty, embracing it opens the door to freedom. Think about a time when something didn't go as planned, but later turned out to be exactly what was needed. Maybe a door closed, but it led to a better opportunity. Maybe a setback provided the time and space to develop in ways that wouldn't have been possible otherwise. In hindsight, it often becomes clear that what seemed like a problem was actually part of a greater plan. There is peace in knowing that not every problem needs an immediate solution. Some challenges work themselves out over time. Some struggles serve a purpose that isn't visible in the moment. Trying to force answers prematurely can create unnecessary stress. Sometimes the best thing to do is simply trust the process and allow things to unfold. A person who constantly worries about the future will never fully experience the present. They will always be caught in a cycle of what-ifs and worst-case scenarios, never truly appreciating the moment they are in. But when the need to control everything is released, space is created for joy, gratitude, and contentment. Instead of being consumed by worry, energy can be focused on what truly matters: growth, relationships, and the things that bring fulfillment. Letting go also means releasing the past. Holding on to regrets, mistakes, or disappointments only prevents forward movement. No amount of overthinking can change what has already happened. The only thing that can be controlled is how to move forward. Carrying the weight of the past only slows down progress, while forgiveness, both for oneself and others, allows for healing and growth. People often spend so much time trying to figure out life that they forget to live it. They chase answers, search for certainty, and fight against circumstances they cannot change, but the greatest breakthroughs often come in moments of surrender, when the struggle is released and trust takes its place. When the need for constant control is set aside, clarity emerges, and life flows with greater ease. There is freedom in accepting that not everything needs to be figured out right now. Life is a journey, not a puzzle that needs to be solved in one sitting. Trusting in a greater plan brings peace even in the midst of uncertainty. And when the weight of control is lifted, what remains is a sense of calm, purpose, and confidence that everything will work out exactly as it is meant to.